Welcome back to Talk Dead to Me. I am your host, Johnny Odell, the social media manager for The Walking Dead. Before we get things kicked off, I just want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in to our emergency podcast on Wednesday night. It's something that it was actually Alexandra's idea to do. I was kind of against it at first, and then I was like, wait, this is brilliant. We need to definitely capture the moment as well as possible. And that's what we did. So thank you guys for listening to that. It had great responses, and I couldn't be more happy. It's something I definitely want to do in the future. This week, we are going to be speaking with two guests that I'm very excited about. The first one is Yvette Nicole Brown. She is a staple in the Walking Dead family, and I can't wait for you guys to hear her instant reactions to the news about the Walking Dead ending, and of course the Carol and Daryl show, which you guys can probably assume she's very excited about, and you would be right. And after that, we're going to be speaking with Matt Lintz, who played Henry on The Walking Dead after the time jump, and you're going to get to hear about his backstory and what it was like working on The Walking Dead, and also what it was like to be on the receiving end of a lot of fan hate over the fact that Henry took a lot of Carl's comic storylines. So we'll get into that, but before we do, let's start things off with Yvette Nicole Brown. First of all, how are you?
I mean, what a loaded question.
It's a loaded question. I know. How are you today? How about that? How are you today?
Today, I'm okay-ish. And listen, I'm happy with the okay of it all, and we'll work on the ish part of it. It's a day by day, crawl towards normalcy for all of us, I think. So I'm all right.
Let's go right into the bombshell news that dropped this week. Where were you when you found out that the Walking Dead main show was coming to a close?
As with all things, I was probably in my office just ending a Zoom call. But I know that I found out on Twitter, which is where I get apparently all my news.
Right.
My page blew up with, "Have you heard? Do you know? What do you think?" And I was like, "What? What happened?" And then I found out. So yeah, I was in my office checking Twitter.
Now, did you think that it was gonna go towards 11 seasons, 12 seasons, beyond? Did you have an idea?
I mean, I thought the show would go for 20 years. I thought the show would go as long. I thought it'd be like one of those old shows like Ponderosa or even Law and Order SVU. Like there's so many stories. You keep recycling and bringing in, new people and new stories. I just felt like it could go on forever. So I was shocked. I was shocked. Yeah.
It must be sort of a strange feeling. It was certainly strange for me knowing that the show's ending, but we're getting a Carol Daryl show and we're getting an anthology series from Gimple. So the Carol Daryl show, I mean, you must have been extremely excited about that.
No, I didn't care at all about that. I'm kidding. That was honestly the only thing that made the ending. That was the sweet to the bittersweet of the main show ending. And anyone that knows me knows that I love me some Carol and Daryl. I've always loved Carol and Daryl, and I love Carol and Daryl together. And my only beef that I've ever had, and it's a tender beef, it's not an angry beef, with the show is that I never got enough of them together. Every time we saw them together, it was wonderful, but we never got like a lot. And I get it. It's a large ensemble. It's a lot of people to service, but I love Melissa and Norman together as actors. I love to see what they will do together. And so a show where they're the leads means we're going to have a whole bunch of Carol and Daryl, which I think is great. And I know people think I'm saying that because I'm a Carol shipper. That's not why I'm saying it. I'm excited about that too, possibility of that too. But I'm saying it because, I love the actors on The Walking Dead. And those are two of the ones that are the fiercest and most heartfelt. And their faces show entire volumes of emotions. One eyebrow raise or one smile or one frown, and what these two people in this universe have gone through. And I don't know, it's just great. We'll get more of them. I text both of them and got immediate responses. They're my buddies.
Oh.
So I text them to go, "Oh my God, guys!" And it was just great to be able to, to share my excitement with them about it. So yeah.
I'm guessing they're equally excited as well.
Well, I don't want to, I don't want to.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
I had to ask.
Yeah, because then the headline is Yvette says that. No,
Yvette says it. Yeah.
I got burnt with that last week. I said something that looked like I was talking for a whole bunch of people. I had a lovely conversation with my friends about a show that all three of us love, and what's to come for them is exciting. So I'll say that.
Okay. It's wild to think that it's going to come out in 2023 because that seems just so far away from now. Hopefully the world will be in a better place. But I mean,
Yeah, you know, it was so funny. I remember when the pandemic started and they said that the finale wouldn't air until October, how far away that seemed.
mm,
And, you know, we're here, you know, so
we're,
as long as this show has dragged on, you know, I think 2023 will look up and it'll be here. And then we also, we'll have another year and a half of, not a year and a half, but we'll have another,
like,
22, 24 episodes, 22 episodes
yes.
to
Well,
come.
we have the 6 episodes they're adding to season 10. So that plus the finale plus the last season, it'll be 31 episodes in all that we have left of
Yeah,
the
come
main
on.
show.
Listen,
I
come
know.
on. We got a
And that
lot of
takes
good.
us that takes us to the end of 2022. People are already kind of mourning the show, and I'm like, guys, we still have 2 years left. I mean, this
2
is
years.
a lot of content.
We also have a guarantee that Carol and Daryl are going to survive whatever happens in those 31. So, I mean,
I
you
know
know,
the stakes are a little low for them.
no, that's great. Listen, but that's great though, because that's one less ulcer that I have to form, you know, watching the show, because I panic every time they're in danger. So I kind of like the idea that somebody is safe on a show where no one is ever safe.
That's true. I wish they had saved the news. Maybe it was for legal reasons. I wish they had saved it a few weeks until after the finale, because there is a lot of high stakes with Carol and Daryl in the finale. I won't ruin anything, but
Oh,
it's
you seen
very
it?
much. Yeah, I have seen it. Yeah, I
Oh
had to do a
God, it's
recap. I
amazing.
watched it back in like March. I've been ready, and I've just had to
Oh,
wait and wait and wait.
but did you watch it
Um,
without all the effects and stuff then, huh?
yeah, so yeah, I
Okay.
guess I haven't seen the final, so it'll just cut to like, basically just a piece of paper where it's like, all right, and then these people will go left, and then these people
Got it.
right.
Got
Yeah,
it.
so I'm excited to see the
Yeah.
final product.
Yeah.
So
I don't, you know why I don't like, not that you asked, but this is why I don't like to watch shows like this early. I don't trust myself not to spoil. I've never spoiled anything, right?
right,
I'm very, you know, vigilant about it, but I feel like, especially with something like you've seen it in March, you could start to feel like it aired. You could start to
yeah,
feel like everybody saw it, you know? And
right.
so you're having a regular conversation and something leaks out. But all right, well, you know, we'll
It
see what happens.
it is tough. Yeah, the fans on Twitter are always hounding me about it. I'm like, I'm not gonna say
Yeah,
anything. Just wait for the finale. I just
right.
can't wait for it to air. So Gimple is going to be in charge of some anthology series, The Tales of the Walking Dead, I believe it's called, and which is going to focus on characters new and old. If they were to do, bring back a deceased character, who would you want to see?
Oh God, it's so hard to pick. I mean, my first instinct, of course, is Glenn.
Right.
Steven is a beast, and I just I'm rewatching the first season again, and just seeing how he looked like a little baby when he first appeared, and then he
I
became
know.
such a man and a love interest and just a warrior and like the soul of the show. So if we could have a little more Glenn, that would make me very happy. Also, you know, I don't know if it's possible to show, or even if it would be that I don't know if we could go back and show Herschel and their life on the farm before everything went to hell, you know,
Yeah.
or as things went to hell before our survivors got there. That would be, I think, interesting. But of course, we've lost Scott, so there's no way we could do that.
Right.
Um, and I'm thinking, is there anyone else that if I could turn back time?
A lot of people want to see Beth, but I feel like we've seen her story. Maybe there's stuff that's been untold.
Yeah,
I'm not
we've seen
sure.
a lot of Beth, but we can't do Beth without Herschel. Like we can't, you
Exactly.
know, how do you do, because we know their life from the time they met the survivors. I mean, our group. So we
Hmm.
can't go back because he's not here anymore. But I'm trying to think who else. Well, we can't have Denai because she's going off to do the movies, but Michonne's story would be amazing. Her and what she and Lori went through before, um, you know, everything went to hell. I mean, there's so
Right.
many. Like you could just pick, you know,
We have a
even
lot of
seeing.
Maggie stuff. Maggie's been gone
Oh,
for a while.
oh yeah. Well, they've got to show where Maggie's been. Like that's the
Yeah.
easiest anthology to do. That's a whole. You went six. When did she leave? This.
She left right after she was gone when Rick left. So I think 906 was or
Right.
905 was her
Yeah.
last episode.
Yeah, so we've got like at least a year of her life where nobody knows where she was or what she was doing there.
Yeah.
And then
She was on Fox.
yeah, I mean we saw where she was, but we didn't see her
Yeah.
in this life. Yeah, that would be great. And then also, you know, Negan's story, you know,
Oh
there's
yeah.
always been this thought where people say, you know, we only love our group because we watched the show through their eyes. And they always use Negan as like, you think Negan's the bad guy because we watched it through Rick's eyes. So what would it be like if we watched Negan as if he was a hero?
Right.
That
would be great. I mean, they are
that's
also considering doing some spin-off series on other characters outside of Daryl and Carol. So a Negan one would be really fascinating. I would watch that.
And even Negan, now that he's becoming I was about to say now that he's a good guy. He's not a good guy, but he's becoming a better man.
Yeah.
As Carol and Daryl go off, it'd be interesting to see who Negan becomes, with a heart. Who is Negan with a heart?
Right. Yeah. Who else would you want to bring along for the ride with Norman and Melissa on their show? Would you want Dog to be there? Is there any room? Fans are hoping that Connie's somehow still involved, but I'm not sure if I can see that happening. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Dog would be great to have. I think they should have like a scrappy friend who's, kind of, curvy girl, maybe from Cleveland. Who also
could be that?
will never die. Yeah, and I think she only travels in an air-conditioned RV. Like she never leaves it. All of her scenes are in the air-conditioned RV.
I love it. You're planting the seeds already.
Yeah, she's like the Charlies of Charlie's Angels. So they go off on their missions, but she's like home base. So they call her and she goes, guys, I heard there's walkers in that building. Be safe. I'll be here making dinner or watching on TV. I don't know, but she doesn't leave the RV. That's what's important. She never leaves the RV.
I mean, they need comedic relief, so.
I mean, the thing is, the main reason why, and people always ask, well, haven't you ever done a guest star or like a cameo? I don't want to be in the muggy heat of Atlanta in the summer outside with mosquitoes. Like every time I watch the show, I'm like, God bless their fortitude, because mosquitoes love me. I'm delicious. I don't want it. I don't want it.
Hey, well, we don't know where they're going to film the Daryl Carroll show. I mean, they talked in season 10 about maybe going to New Mexico, which doesn't sound that much cooler, but I wonder where they go.
Well, the beautiful thing is in that scene, they talked about just getting on motorcycles and riding away. So, they literally could end up anywhere. They could end up anywhere.
I'm just going to watch that Ride with Norman episode with Melissa and just kind of imagine.
Imagine what could be. Yeah. It's pretty exciting.
Some zombies.
I think it's exciting. And I, again, going back to the ship wars and all that, which I think, let me just say on the record. I think ship wars are so dumb. Yep. Shipping is awesome, but fighting over shipping is so dumb. And I just wish that I hope that we can all get back to just celebrating. It's okay to want two people to kiss. That's the fun part about it. But let other people want other people to kiss. You know what I mean? It has nothing, who you want to kiss has nothing to do with who I want to kiss.
I know. Something I need to work on for early New Year's resolution is just keeping things in drafts. Because I just realized sometimes it's not even worth it going back and forth with these people.
No, well, I actually, the other day, somebody, and God bless, there's people that saw what happened to me with all that mess. So they're like, well, Yvette, they're starting again, or Yvette. And I'm like, y'all, listen, let them start. Let them, y'all, go on. Don't bring no more water to me about those people. Let those people be as hateful as they want to be over there. I'm going to be over here celebrating the fact that two people I want to kiss may kiss at some point. That makes
it would be great.
Happy. Yeah,
it'd be great, and it'd be hard to do a show where they're just platonic the whole time. I mean, you'd think they're leaning into it a little bit, but who knows?
I mean, what's the point of doing it if it ain't gonna be a kiss somewhere? But again, it is not canon until it's canon. I can watch them be buddies, killing walkers for 10 seasons. I just like them as characters, and I love them as actors. So
yeah. Do you? I'm curious. Do you watch any? And it's okay if you don't. Do you watch any Fear the Walking Dead?
Yeah, I do.
It's dark. Jenna Elfman. Name drop was just saying it is dark, and I was like, "Oh, Jenna, don't scare me."
I mean, like darker than Original Recipe, because the Original Recipe is pretty dark.
Pretty dark, I know.
Okay.
Are you going to check out World Beyond?
Anything that has Walking Dead as a part of it, I am all in. So yes, my whole life. By the time they do all the sequels and the spinoffs and the anthologies and the movies, my whole life will just be Walking Dead. But yes, I do want to watch the spinoff as well. Have you seen that?
Good. I've seen the first 3. It's really good. Some people might feel a way about it because it is kind of like an adolescent, like, it's about these kids, trying to go through the apocalypse. So some people might think it's like, maybe a little too light, but just wait till the end of the first episode. You're like, oh, this is a different show. I really like it. So just, and plus there's a ton of clues about the community that took Rick away. So that's always nice.
I mean, that's going to totally be a draw. And also Julia Ormond is amazing. So.
Oh, she is a crazy good villain. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for taking the time on a Saturday. I really appreciate it. For what it's worth, you are a valued member of the Walking Dead fandom, one of the best fans that it has. So
I'm doing my best, brother. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Isn't Yvette fun? I hope you guys enjoyed listening to that. Now we are going to be going on to our second and final guest, Matt Lintz. Like I said, he played Henry on The Walking Dead, and he has a great story. Let's hear it now. So first of all, before we get into anything, we have to talk about how you first reacted to the bombshell news on Wednesday about The Walking Dead ending.
I know, I saw that, and I was shocked, because the show has been going on so long. It's been amazing seasons, amazing characters have gone in, died, still going, like Norman and Melissa, all these amazing actors, and just to see it, you watch it and you're a part of the show, and you never really feel like it's going to end. And the news, it's sad, but we still have a good amount of episodes left, a lot of story to tell. So it's sad, but it's cool.
Yeah, and it doesn't end until 2022. Everyone's like, wow, well, I guess my favorite show's done. It's really sad. I'm like, guys, we still have 2 years. 2
years, yeah.
Did you have any indication, when you were there, that, of what the timeline for the show would be? Or I guess they probably didn't know back then. No.
Mm-mm. Yeah, they didn't really tell me any about that. But, yeah, I didn't know.
Gotcha. And follow-up question, I know you're obviously know Melissa really well. How do you feel about her getting her own show with Norman?
Oh my gosh, I forgot they're doing a spin-off, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is amazing. I've known her my whole life. Before even my sister was on the show, I'd auditioned for her when I was like 4 or 5. So she's been a part of my life my whole life, and that's right. I think it's really cool, and I think they're gonna do a fantastic job with it, and see, that story, the shippers between Daryl and Carol.
Oh man,
I feel it's good for them, right?
Yeah. What is your opinion on the Carol ship? Not to bring you into this giant controversy, but do you see it, or do you think they're just friends?
I think they should stay friends, 100%. Yeah. I feel like, you can have a really good relationship, like a male can have a good relationship with a female and just be friends. And I feel like, it'd be cool, I guess, if they, became a thing. But at the same time, I've always personally, even when I was on the show, I always seen them as friends.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you.
Maybe it won't. Maybe the spinoff will, will take a different route. But
maybe Connie will be there. Maybe as long as Dog is there.
You never know.
As long as Dog is there, that's all I care about.
I know.
All right, so you started acting super young, as you mentioned, around 4 years old, which is pretty crazy. So is that something that, I'd heard your mom was really involved with that. Is that something that she was kind of just pushing on a lot of you guys, or is that something you really wanted to do?
It was the exact opposite. She didn't want us to.
Oh, really?
So when I was 4, I'd always go on set with her for a show called Surface that she was on. And me and my sister Madison would go and visit and see everything and meet the actors and sit in chairs and it was super cool. But actually, it was Madison and I's decision to do it. And my mom was always supportive. She was fully for it. And if we didn't want to do it, she was fully for that too. And throughout the years, it got a little bit more competitive. And I started getting into the more, professional route of it. And, when I started 4 to about 9 years old, it was more of commercials or just doing it for fun and getting picked up from school early to go to an audition, stuff like that. And then started getting a little bit more serious. And my mom was like, hey, I just want to let you know I'm fully for whatever you want to do. And if you want to stay in it, go for it. If you don't, we're fully for that because, in my time, I've met a ton of kids who I know their parents have kind of forced the whole industry on them. And we've seen some horror stories in taping or auditions where moms were, you could just tell the moms wanted it more, the fame rather than their kids having fun. And I was blessed enough to be in an environment that allowed me to do what I wanted. And of course, it's my passion, so I'm pursuing it still. And it's been really, really good.
Yeah. Were you aware of that as a kid, that there were kind of pitfalls with being a child actor? Because I think Alex Winter, who played Bill in Bill and Ted, he just did a documentary, I think on HBO, about that, about how, the Mara Wilsons of the world and, the people just who were kids in show business growing up, they ended up, going to drugs or just had these really dark paths. Like, were you aware of any of that?
Of course, man. I've had countless conversations with my parents and family about, what could happen, and making sure I'm grounded and I have my morals straight. And, they've always been very adamant on making sure I've been, raised the right way. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to come off bad or anything, but I'm just saying, I feel like, how I was raised and how, my family raised me and Madison, Mackenzie, and my little brother Max. And I think it's, it's definitely a risk. You see a ton of kids out in LA or, the Disney show kids, and you hear horror stories about, the drugs and the alcohol abuse, but thankfully I haven't gone that route. I never will. But definitely there's even that route. Another route you have to look at is school. I missed my whole high school career. I was like never there.
Really?
Yeah. I never went to a prom.
Oh.
Yeah. And, looking back on it, it's like, that sucks. But, it's the route I chose. And, freshman year, I missed 7 months. Sophomore year, I missed a month. Junior year, missed half the year. And senior year, of course, got cut off by COVID. But I'm in college now. I'm having a good time. I'm at Auburn, and I took a break from acting after The Walking Dead. And I wanted to kind of, not so to say, live a normal life, but live, away from acting for a little bit.
Right.
And that was really good for my mental health, because I didn't want to, I love acting. It's part of me. It's what I do, but I don't want my whole being to be just that actor from that show or that movie,
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
I was happy or blessed enough to play a range of characters, and it's been super cool for me.
So you mentioned that you're in Auburn now. Are you actually at Auburn, or are you doing online stuff?
I moved in at the beginning of August, so everything is online. It kind of sucks. The college experience is kind of quarantine in. Wear your mask, everybody, if you're listening. Wear your mask, social distance, wash your hands. But yeah, everything's online. So I've just been, in my apartment, doing school online. It's tough, man. College is the grind, but it's been a great experience so far. And I love it. But obviously, I'm still an actor, so I'm balancing that with school. And obviously, if I book something, I'm gonna withdraw because acting is my passion. But I also I'm pursuing academics.
That's awesome, man. What are you majoring in?
I'm actually exploratory right now, so I'm doing a bunch of wide range courses to fit a lot of places, and I will narrow it down and see what I want to do. But I love it here, man. I'm only like 2 weeks into school, man, and it's been weird living on my own, making my own food, doing all this, not having my mom to make sure I'm in check. But it's adulthood, I guess is the word to say. But I guess I've grown up a lot.
Yeah, college will do that. College really kind of smacks you in the face with adulthood sometimes. So are you using the video? Like, are you doing Zoom classes?
Yeah.
Basically?
So some courses are no Zooms, no meetings. It's just you watch some lectures that they have preset, and you kind of, I guess, learn it by yourself, which is tough. It sucks.
Can't imagine.
You can get ahead really fast if you're diligent enough. But some are Zoom, so you'll have 8 a.m.s, 9:30s that you have a scheduled meeting. Mm-hmm. It's good because if you have classes where you don't have Zoom, you can kind of build your schedule and do what you need to do in the day.
Yeah. Has anyone recognized you yet?
Yeah. That I have been recognized here, and it's super cool. But there's definitely a bunch of fans of The Walking Dead here, so. It's been good.
Nice. I spoke with your sister, Maddie, in the spring, and she said during quarantine she was tie-dyeing and playing piano. What were your quarantine hobbies?
Gosh, man, I didn't do much. I've met so many people that have like said like during quarantine, like, oh yeah, I learned this, I learned that. I started playing guitar. I'm like, whoa, I just sat in my room all day. But no, I just played a bunch of video games. Gosh, what did I do?
What's your go-to video game right now?
I played a lot of Valorant.
Valorant,
It's
yeah.
a PC game. I brought all my stuff to college, but I just haven't had the time to, get on it. It's been so busy for me here. But I had a home gym that I was using a little bit.
I'm so jealous.
Trying to, make way and just wait it out. But hopefully then soon.
So you started off really young, and what was your biggest, like your first like big role where you're like, holy crap, this is happening to me?
My first, I guess to say big role was Another Cinderella Story with Lucy Hale. So that was a cute little movie I did down in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I kind of played like the hellion little brother that kind of wreaked havoc.
Yeah,
and it was interesting. I was, I think I was 10. But they really let me, have fun with it. And at that time, as a kid, that's when it actually started getting serious. But I didn't know that. So I literally am like, oh my gosh, I get to leave school and I can go do this awesome movie. And I had so much fun with it. And I went off script so much time and so many times with the actors and actresses. And it was a blast.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you actually got to visit set when Madison was Sophia for Walking Dead, right? Like all the way since season 1. Oh my God,
I remember vividly. I don't know exactly what scene it was, but I remember vividly being on set and seeing Irene and Chandler and all those people, and I was like, "Wow, this is so cool!" But and also another little funny thing. I don't know if people know this, but when Madison, when she died, and she had all her makeup on, me and my little brother visited, and Maxon was in the trailer, and he's like 4 or 5. Madison comes in with her makeup and is like acting like a zombie, and he started crying. It was the funniest thing because it was scary. Like it obviously the makeup artists on The Walking Dead, no one comes close. But yeah, that was a little funny thing. But I didn't visit Maxon that much. I think I was busy with school and all that. But I never really visited with him. But he came a bunch with me, so that was cool.
Now, when Maxon got the role of Henry, did they know what the trajectory of that was? Because I think Andrew Lincoln leaving kind of threw things like kind of in a spiral.
Honestly, I feel like if Andrew didn't leave, they wouldn't do a time jump.
Really?
But I had no clue. To even think that we'd have 3 siblings on the show, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
But we didn't. We had no clue. And then once they even when we knew about the time jump, we didn't know I was gonna play it. But we were like, hey, well maybe. We were kind of like joking, like, hey, maybe Matt could hop in it. And then, we got the phone call from AMC and it went from there.
Did you have to audition, or were they just like, you look like him, so.
I had one little audition, and then immediately they were like, yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, it was really cool. I remember my first day on set, my first scene, it was with Melissa, and we were in the carriage going to Hilltop, and Lauren Kahn was on set. I'm not exactly sure why. I think she was visiting.
Oh, really?
And we're in the car, and she turns around and looks at me and goes, you really look like Max, and he played younger Henry. You look exactly like him. And I'm like, well, he's my younger brother, so.
Oh my! She had no idea.
Yeah, she had no idea. Wait,
so Lauren or Melissa?
No, Lauren.
Oh, Lauren. Okay, I was gonna say Melissa has to know, right?
A bunch of the cast and crew didn't know. So it was kind of funny to like tell them and spring it on them, and the shock on their face was really funny.
Wait, so you have another sister too? What is she up to? Is she an actress?
She was an actress for a while.
Okay.
She was in 3 seasons of Under the Dome, and then I got canceled. And then she actually came to Auburn. Okay. So she was here her freshman year, excuse me. And now she's pursuing law. So she's at Charleston Law, and she's so smart. So it's really cool to see her thriving there and yeah.
Yeah. So you guys have like a Lintz dynasty here. That's pretty awesome. So when you came on as Henry, did they tell you that you were going to be taking a lot of Carl's comic storylines, or was that something you found out later?
I didn't know anything. I didn't know how big the role was going to be. I didn't know anything. I just knew it was filming in Atlanta, and I was in Atlanta. It was really convenient for me, so we decided to take the role. And once we started getting the scripts, like, oh my gosh, wow! I mean, he's really in it. And then get to episode 10, like I'm one of the main people in it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I remember I had a fitting, and Norman came in, and he was like, you have a girlfriend in this. And I was like, what? And then sure enough, a couple episodes later, yeah, that whole storyline panned out. But it was really cool. I didn't know it'd be like that, and even if it wasn't, it was so fun. Finally being on that show and working with the cast and crew.
Yeah. Did you read any of the comics?
I've never read them.
Really?
I watched
Okay.
the show and just that, but I definitely do want to get into them because they're definitely really interesting. But I didn't know anything about the Carl. Even when I was doing the stuff, I didn't know it was Carl's stuff.
Yeah, they straight up just gave you all of Carl's storyline, and not all of it. I mean, you obviously put your own flavor on it and everything. And in the comics, they don't eat worms together. She like licks his empty eye socket.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, which a lot of people are upset that we didn't get to see that in the show, but I'm actually kind of glad. So that would have been weird.
Yeah, I've had a bunch of conversations with Chandler because we play video games.
Oh, really?
Yeah. About
Nice.
all that stuff. So it's really cool.
Cool. So what was it working alongside Cassidy? I met her at I think the season 10 premiere party, and she is a ball of energy.
Yeah, she's awesome. Like from the moment I met her, she's such a fantastic actress, and we had so much fun together. Filming all those scenes, and she, I don't get it. I remember being on set, like having my own freaking cooler of Red Bull because I drank it so much because I don't
Not
know.
White Monsters?
No.
Wow.
This was before I knew about it, but
okay, yeah.
Red Bulls, like, on set, but she never lost energy. I was like, dang, I wish I could be like that.
I know,
Yeah,
she is. Yeah, I was like, where do you get it from? Probably maybe just a bunch of those. I have no idea. So, all right. So you're in the show, like you said, pretty prominently. When do you get an indication ahead of time about where your character's going in terms of like the heads on spike thing, or is that something? Because I heard I know Alana was saying that she had found out like just like a few days before or something.
Oh my, yeah. No one knew anything. We knew the spikes were happening, so there was always a bunch of talk about it on who was getting killed, but I didn't know till 2 weeks before.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's
I was
crazy.
filming. I died in 15. I knew
Yeah.
when I was filming 14.
Wow. Were you pissed?
No, coming on the show, it sucked. It was sad, but literally coming on the show, you're going on The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
You need to be prepared that it's a show about zombies where people die all the time. Yeah, especially for Carol's kids. So,
yeah.
But no, I it was sad, but of course I wasn't mad. It's just it's a business. They need to do what's best for the show, and I had a fun time on it, and I'm happy with the content that they gave me.
Yeah, you're what, 18?
I'm 19.
19? That's a really mature outlook on things. I think there'd be a lot of actors who would be properly bitter and
Well, thank you, man.
cynical.
No, yeah, it's just when you're raised in this business, you need to understand that it's just how it works. If you look at like the NBA or NFL, people get traded all the time. It's just people die all the time or get off the show. That's how it is in acting.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of like sports. I'm curious when, just like most shows, you have different directors on each episode, so they can like plan ahead. Is that kind of like having a different like head coach every episode, or is it not that different?
That's actually a good analogy. It's kind of like that. Each director, there's obviously a big structure that they need to go through to push the show forward with the episodes, but they each have their own flavor. So you work with one, and it'd be awesome, and then you work with another, and they would bring a different thing to the table that you could work with, or just interacting with them. All the directors I worked with were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
All the directors. So it was always fun to like, oh wow, this person's coming in this episode. It'll be cool to work with them and learn from them and all that stuff. But all of them were amazing.
Wow. Okay, that's great. What was it like, I guess, Since you knew Melissa really well, did she ever, I mean, I guess you're kind of a seasoned actor by the time you get on the show. I mean, you've done a million things, but do you get any advice from her or the Jeffrey Dean Morgans or Norman Reeduses of the world, or you just kind of all do your own thing?
For me, I didn't really, the way I learned from people is watching them. So there was a bunch of situations where I would, even if I wasn't filming, or if I was in the scene but I wasn't in the shot, I'd go up in Video Village and watch them, because if you pay attention enough, you can really learn a lot. And even when they're not filming, how they're preparing for it all prior to shooting, and I learned so much from Melissa, Norman, Samantha. Gosh, Samantha's brilliant. I remember this episode where I was captured. I just remember watching her and the choices she made in the scene and making it so interesting and dynamic. I was like, wow, she's just brilliant. I feel like I can be like her one day. But no, but all the actors, you learn so much from them.
Yeah, it's a trip watching her behind the scenes, because she'd be like, hello, it's me, Samantha. And like she's still like dressed as Alpha. And you're like, whoa. Lady. Yeah. She's a nice little British lady. And then you get on the show and she's like, what the heck? She's going to kill me. What she did? I know. And I never saw Sons of Anarchy, but Ryan Hurst Beta is great. But I only see Ryan Hurst. My only knowledge of him is really the quarterback in Remember the Titans. So I was like, that's him? He looks so... I remember my dad was stoked when he was brought onto the show, and I didn't know he was Gary Bertier from the show. I know, he looks so different with the beard. I was like, there's no way. And he's the nicest guy. He's literally like a big 6'6" teddy bear. He brought a lot to the show, and it's bringing a lot to the show. And he was so awesome to work with. I didn't get to work with him too much, but the times I did, it was awesome. Oh yeah, there was that scene where you kind of infiltrate the Whisperer camp, and he grabs you out of the ditch or whatever. It looks like it all smelled really bad, and I'm sure it did, because people are actually wearing masks, and it's like the Georgia heat. Like, what sensory wise, what was it like? Yeah, so that was filmed in the woods. I don't know the location, but when we were filming there, it's 100 degrees. You have the humidity. You're wearing, like the Whisperers, you're wearing masks. You're wearing all this shit. And then, excuse my language. No, you can curse on this. It's fine. I have armor on and long sleeves, and God, the black jeans I had to wear. I'm literally dying. I almost passed out multiple times filming that. But that scene where I'm in the ditch, they actually had a harness on me, so we had to film it. And obviously he's so strong, so he just yanked me up, and it was super cool doing all that. But yeah, they had fans and waters and stuff like that for the cast and crew. Gotcha. So for listeners who don't really know how the whole process works of creating an episode, how far in advance from shooting the episode do you get the script, you learn it, and then they shoot it, and how long does the shooting take place? It can really depend on the content in the script. Usually you'll be filming, and halfway through you get another script, and you can, you get the whole thing, and they'll usually give you the whole episode a while back so you can review it, and then they'll have a ton of revisions as you're filming previous episodes. So you can get ready and prepared for a good amount of the stuff in advance. But for obviously the Pikes, I didn't know about that until 2 weeks before, because that's really confidential stuff. But you definitely have adequate time to know what's going to happen. For example, I could be filming, say, episode 6, and halfway through I'll get 7 and 8, that first revision, and you're like, oh, cool, this happens here, this and this and this. That'll be awesome to film, and then they'll revise it a little bit as you keep going forward. But yeah, it's really cool. Nice. Now, forgive me if this is a dumb question, but how do you normally prep for, just memorizing your lines? Do you do it with a partner? Do you just do it in the mirror? It really varies from actor to actress or whoever. People do it thousands of different ways. Acting is the hardest art. It's, for example, my coach was telling me, acting is like playing basketball, but every time you step on the court, the hoop changes. The three-point line changes. It's always flowing. There's not a set thing. So, I could always prep going over with my coach or by myself in the mirror with actors and actresses, prior to filming. There's a ton of ways actors and actresses go about it.
But usually I would go over it with my mom because she was my original coach. She literally is fantastic. So I'd always read with her and get prepped, and then prior to filming, I'd rehearse it with the cast.
Nice. Awesome. I'm actually wondering, just going back a little bit, like because Melissa McBride, a lot of people know she was a casting director way back when. I wonder what she was like back then. Did you get to experience that?
Yeah, I would like to say I did, but I was so young.
So young, yeah.
I remember going into auditions with her all the time, and I don't remember. If I was like kind of hoping I'd remember like an audition I had for her, but I used to multiple times, like so many times I'd go in and she was a casting director and I would read in front of her as a child. But I don't remember really anything other than like little bits of like flashback memories.
Yeah. Gotcha. Man, that's crazy. And, we have so much Walking Dead left. I can't believe, I don't know if you've heard anything about the Rick movies, if those are still happening. I'm guessing they are. I've heard
I don't want to say too much, but those are going to be awesome.
They've talked about anthology series where they do, they bring characters back from the dead. Would you ever be open to anything like that?
I've never heard of that. I would love to come back.
Yes.
I have not heard of that, but that would be freaking awesome.
Yeah, Gimple's working on a new show called Tales from the Walking Dead, where it's...
Is that the animated series?
Ooh, is it? I don't think it's animated. Are they doing an animated series?
I feel like I saw something on social media, but maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I'm not. Who knows? But
Yeah, it's the Walking Dead universe is so big they can go so many different ways. So I bet the fans are super excited about that.
Yeah. So what was it like on your last day of set?
It was so sad. I remember it well. It was sad, because it's kind of like a final goodbye to the cast and crew you've been working with for 6-7 months, and they gave me a really warm goodbye with clapping and hugging and pictures around, and I have a few pictures that are so awesome that one of the crew took of me. I was like, wow, I can look back on that years from now and know exactly what and where and like what was happening. But it was a bunch of goodbyes from people. I still see a bunch of the cast at the fan conventions at Comic-Con, so it's so cool to always be with them and catch up. But it was sad to leave.
Yeah, and they cast your head, right?
Yeah, they did. Oh my God, I have videos.
What was that like?
Horrendous, horrible. If you're claustrophobic, you might as well just quit. They did a green goop on my face, and they let that dry. And the only way you can breathe is through your nostrils. So if your nostrils are clogged, you're going to suffocate. So they would let that dry, and then they did 3 layers of paper mache. So you have this 8 to 10 pound thing on your head that needs to sit there for 10 minutes, and it gets super hot. Oh my gosh, I can remember it. It's terrible. They literally have straws up your nose so you can breathe, and you have to stay in it for 10 minutes. And I have videos and pictures of it that I always look back on. I'm like, oh my God.
Did you get to keep the head?
I did not. I know Alana and Caitlin have it, but I personally wouldn't want it. But it's cool that they got it.
That's awesome. What do you think Henry would be doing if you hadn't, your character hadn't died in the Pikes?
Well, my question is who would die in my place? I feel like it would depend. If it was Ezekiel, I feel like he'd probably try and be avenging him and obviously having the relationship with Lydia. Yeah. And that's one thing I think about a lot. Obviously people have to die, and that's the show, and I think they did an amazing job with the shock factor with me. But I always think about what would Henry be doing right now? Where would his path lead?
Right.
But that's a good question.
Yeah, you'd be in the final head. I mean, that was really shocking. In the comics, it was
everybody. Yeah, even me. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh.
I know. It was shocking. Yeah, I feel bad for the Highwaymen guys because they were introduced just an episode before, so they could kind of fill out the roster.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah, they were all awesome guys. They're so nice.
Poor guys. I was like, wait, this is really interesting. What is their story? And they're dead. Okay, all right, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome though. I love meeting them.
Yeah, in the comics, it was Ezekiel and Rosita
Yeah, I remember.
a bunch
I
of other
remember reading
people.
about that. That it was and them and yeah, that's cool.
It's wild. So, are you still going to? Do you still watch the show, or are you still gonna
Yeah, I need to
watching
catch
it
up.
all?
I need to catch up, but yeah, I definitely still watch the show. I love it. I watched like seasons 1 through 5, and then I took a break, and then I got the role, so I started binging it all, and it's so awesome to see all the worlds and all the communities and the dead people, and it's literally so cool to see. Even the old actors that I didn't get to work with, it's like, damn, I would have loved to work with them.
What season would you want to be in if you could like kind of go
Oh,
back in time?
1, 2, or 3, without a
One,
doubt.
2, or 3?
Those are my
Yeah.
favorite. Those are my favorite.
Those are OG for sure.
I think I probably won. I love season 1. It is a masterpiece.
Are you able to watch your work? Because some actors, because I know Andrew Lincoln has never like famously seen an episode of The Walking Dead.
No, I've never heard of that. Are you serious?
Yeah, usually during the premieres, he would show up, do the red carpet, say hi to everyone, and then just dip right before the episode played.
God, I never heard of that. I personally, I can watch myself. I kind of cringe a little bit, but there's scenes like, oh, that was actually really good, and then there's scenes where like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to die. But I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem watching myself.
What do you think that is like with actors who can't see it?
Because you analyze, you see exactly what you do wrong, and you want to fix it, but obviously you can't. And people just analyze. You start looking at yourself like, oh my gosh, I hope they like that. I hope they like this. So people all together are like, I know Shia LaBeouf hates. There's a video of him like crying watching himself. I was like, oh, I'm not like that.
Yeah, you're not gonna sit in a theater for like a whole day and watching all your work.
Like, they just analyze, and I know some actors that don't watch themselves, but I mean, I like it.
Did you have scenes with Jeffrey Dean Morgan? I'm trying to remember.
I didn't.
Isn't that weird?
It sucked because I wanted to work with him so bad, but I was going over a scene with Greg Nicotero and Norman at the offices, and he came in. It was super cool to meet him. I was like, oh my god, it's Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He's the man. But sadly, I didn't. I was super stoked because episode 14, I got to work with Denai, and I was so excited about that.
Yeah.
I mean, Denai, Michonne, amazing. So it was checked off my bucket list to work with her. Sadly, I didn't get to work with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but really cool guy.
When you did get to go to conventions, I don't even know if conventions can happen anymore. Hopefully they will eventually.
Online. I hope people.
Oh yeah, the online conventions.
We can get this sorted out so we can all go back to normal. But yeah, most of them are online now. But I cut you off completely. What were you saying?
What's no, it's fine. What is the fan response when you did go to them in person?
It every single one I go to, it's so fun because the fans is what makes the show so great. And obviously the actors and the crew and the producers and all that, would morph into that, but you can't have The Walking Dead without, the Walking Dead family, because the fans are amazing and I get so much support, and they're always coming up to my table saying how much they love my stuff or hate my stuff. It's fine. But
really?
It's all love, and I understand that. I mean, it's really cool to meet these people in all these different places.
Yeah, being an actor who's been in big movies, big TV shows, like, do you ever like kind of zoom out and feel like you're having an out of body experience? Like, is this my life? Like, is this happening? Or have you?
It's happened a ton with The Walking Dead. Like, it's just like, it's so cool to be a part of it, because I know my whole life, my whole family's been in it. Not my whole family, but Max and Madison. I was like, man, they're in The Walking Dead. I wish I could do that. And then here I am, a couple years after Madison and Max, and I'm in the show and I had a prominent role, and it's like the fans, like it's definitely, I've had so many times like that.
We're just like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah, like, this is like insane.
What is this life? Wow, it's crazy. Are your friends also in the industry, or do you have friends who are just kind of like normal?
You know what, man? I don't have too many acting friends from my hometown. So I'm from north of Atlanta, and I have friends that are no recollection. They have nothing to do with acting. So it's kind of cool to explain it to them. But I definitely have acting friends, of course. But most of my friends are not actors.
Gotcha. Do they think it's cool, or are they just like, whatever?
Yeah, man, they think it's really cool. I personally don't talk about it as much. I'll talk about it if someone talks about it to me, because I don't want people to think that my whole life is just acting, you know, because I'm my own person. I do things outside of acting, but it's definitely really cool to explain it to them and say, oh yeah, I got to go to this place and that place and got to be this person, that person. But yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I forgot to ask, was Maxon upset that you got to take over his role once they did the time jump?
It was
really
the exact opposite. Yeah, he was actually the most supportive person in my family. Because I didn't want to do it. I was telling him I wasn't going to do it. If he wasn't comfortable with me doing it, I was just going to, okay, I totally understand. And him being 14, he's like the most mature kid ever. He's fully supportive of it. He wanted me to do it. And yeah, he was so much fun.
Sounds like you have like a really mature, like put together family.
Yeah,
everyone seems like you guys have to have skeletons in your closet, right?
But if I was 14 and my older brother was taking over a character, I'd be like, no, I don't want him to do that. You know, Maxon, he's way more mature than I was at his age.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, I mean, he got to learn from you guys. That's kind of the benefit of being the youngest, right? Is that you get to.
He's had to take the most crap from us. But he's playing golf now and he's acting and all that stuff. He's doing great.
Golf and acting. It sounds awesome. So I know you're still figuring out your major and you said you're taking a break from acting, but are there any other like things in the industry that you'd want to pursue later on, like directing or producing or writing or anything like that?
I'm actually, I took a break after Walking Dead for about 8 months, but I'm fully back in auditioning.
Oh, you're fully back in? Okay, great.
Yeah, I personally, I don't think I'd want to be a director or any of that. I'm more based in acting and you know, acting it out and telling the story and all that. I fully respect people who do it. Like that's a hard job, but acting is where my passion and priority is right now.
Gotcha. One final thing, how much do you look at like what the fans were saying, like as episodes were airing, or did you not read comments? Like,
good question. I was immediately told by my mom, don't look at the fan sites, don't look at the things because they're gonna hate you. Sure enough. They hated me. I was like, wow, that sucks, you know, because people, you know, there's people, and obviously this isn't everyone. I'm not saying, you know, everyone hated me. I'm just saying there's certain fans that kind of morph Henry into real life and think that my real life is Henry, and they would send like death threats. And
no way.
You know, I got some pretty bad messages like that. But
do they just DM you like, hey, dude, they fucking die?
I would get comments and got a lot of hate. I also got a lot of love. But you know, in the industry, you can't let that affect you. If you let it affect you, you're gonna have a really bad time because there's gonna be fans that think you're Henry in real life and forget that you're an actual human being that is a part of the show. So you cannot take it seriously.
I guess that just comes with the job. I think if there was any hate for Henry, and I didn't have any, I thought you did an awesome job on the show. I think it's just because they're mad about Carl. And that's the only reason. I think, you know, your acting was superb. And
I look at it more as like a funny thing because I'd like see messages like, hey, look at this. This guy said this.
Yeah, can you believe this shit? Wow.
Yeah, but no, you treat it like a job. I went in there, did my stuff, had a great time, made so many amazing friends, have met so many amazing fans. People want to send hate, you know, you're fully welcome to, but I'm my own person. I'm not going to affect me.
And what are they doing in their lives, honestly? I mean, what are they? They're just sitting back on their couch, just like this fucking guy. But it's like, what are you doing? Exactly. I don't know if you know, at Skybound, you know, we produce The Walking Dead. We also have a YouTube channel where we do the React compilations where people.
I saw it. I saw my episode.
Did you see the one? Okay.
Yeah, it was the coolest thing ever.
I was going to say, because people were very upset that you died.
Yeah. Because I watched that and I was like, you know, everyone hates me. It's going to be them cheering. And I was like, oh my gosh, that made people cry. And after, like, that's a really, like, it just was, like, really proud for me. I felt, like, really accomplished because, like, oh my God. You know, making people cry. Of course, I don't want them to cry, but, like, it's
well,
cool,
right.
You know?
But you had such an emotional impact on people and you hadn't even been on the show that long. So I think that says a lot more than the people who send you negative messages. Yeah. And you made like grown people cry, like full on adults who were like in their 40s were sobbing after they saw that your character was gone. So I think that's a pretty cool impact to leave.
Yeah. You know, I'm happy with what I got and I'm actually blessed that they entrusted me with some of Carl's stuff and, you know, I did my best and I'm happy with the work I did for the show.
Great, man. Well, you know, That's all I have. I'm really excited to see where your career goes from here. I'm so glad that you're in college. I think that's awesome. A lot of people just skip that route completely, but it's a great way to make friends and just be well-rounded. So
Yeah. I'm
sick, dude.
having a blast here, and if I have something with acting comes up, I'll leave. But right now I'm based in Auburn, War Eagle.
War Eagle, yeah. Hopefully you get some SEC football coming up eventually.
I hope so, but gotta be safe. Gotta make sure the virus doesn't spike. That's the main priority. But we'll see what happens.
That's awesome, man. Well, Matt, thank you so much for taking the time. I really, really appreciate it.
Of course, Johnny. Thank you so much for having me on. I had a blast. I had so much fun talking with you.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I'd love to have you on again in the future. So but until then, we'll see you later. Good luck with everything.
Of course.
And have a good one, man.
It was so nice meeting you, man. Thank you.
Hey, you too, buddy. All right, see ya. And that was my interview with Matt Lintz. I want to thank Matt and Yvette for both coming on the podcast this week, along with Brandon, Kirsten, Amanda, Julian, Woody, and Alexandra. This was a jam-packed week of guests, and I am so glad that we got to have them all in to discuss this insane news. We're all going to get through this together. Like I said, we still have 2 years left until the show ends, and then we have more shows after that. It's just going to keep on going and going until we're all dead. But until then, thank you for listening. Wear a mask. We'll see you next week. And as always, happy birthday to Nate.